All right, listeners, buckle up. We're diving into something we all experience, aging.
It's a topic that fascinates me, that's for sure.
You shared a chapter from a book on this, all about nutrients and healthy aging. And, well, it focuses on all those diseases we think about with getting older.
Yeah, the ones we don't always like to talk about.
So today, let's break it all down. The science of aging itself, some of those common conditions, and what it means for you right here, right now.
I love it. Let's demystify aging.
Oh, and this is wild. There might be a link between hearing loss and heart disease.
Really? I hadn't heard about that.
We're exploring that today, plus how even our immune systems, they age too.
It really is a whole body experience, isn't it?
Okay, so first things first. The chapter says aging isn't actually a disease itself.
Right.
It's like our bodies gradually lose their ability to repair and regenerate. Kind of like a car wearing down over time. Right.
A great analogy. Think about your heart, for instance.
Okay.
A 20-year-old heart, 10 times more efficient at pumping blood than someone in their 30s or 40s.
10 times. Wow, that's a huge difference.
It is.
So is that kind of decline happening all over our bodies?
Pretty much, yeah. Kidneys, lungs, senses, all affected as we get older. That's why getting a handle on this whole aging process is so important.
Okay, so then why do we age? The chapter mentions UV damage, genes, and even says aging affects everyone differently. It's a lot to take in.
It's incredibly complex, you're right. No single answer, unfortunately. But one of the key processes is something called apoptosis.
Apoptosis, that sounds kind of scary.
It's basically programmed cell death.
Yeah.
Might sound a bit ominous, but it's actually totally normal, essential even, for aging.
Wait, so cell death is a normal part of aging? How does that even work?
Imagine a city, right, where old buildings never get demolished. There'd be no space for new ones.
I see.
Apoptosis is like that demolition crew. Clears out old or damaged cells to make room for fresh, healthy ones.
So it's like a constant renewal cycle happening in our bodies.
Exactly. But as we age, that cycle, it slows down. Now, shifting gears a bit, let's talk about telomeres.
Telomeres, okay.
They're like these protective caps on the ends of our chromosomes. Big role in how long our cells can keep dividing.
Right. The chapter mentioned that these telomeres shorten every time a cell divides.
Yeah.
And once they get too short, the cell basically dies.
It's like a biological clock ticking away.
So is that what actually determines our lifespan?
It's a pretty good indicator, yeah. And here's where it gets really interesting. Shorter telomeres in older folks are linked to a 3 to 8 times higher risk of things like infections and heart problems.
Seriously. So it's not just cells getting old, it's how that aging makes us more vulnerable to other diseases.
Precisely. And it's not all about our genes either. Things like obesity, pollution, even stress, they can all speed up that telomere shortening.
So basically my stressful job is aging me faster.
Well, chronic stress definitely doesn't help. Let's just put it that way.
All right. So what about this telomerase thing I read about? It's an enzyme that can actually extend telomeres, right?
It does.
Is it the fountain of youth we've all been waiting for?
Not quite that simple, I'm afraid. It's vital for keeping those chromosomes in good shape, especially in cells that divide often. But as we age, telomerase activity does tend to decline.
So is there anything we can do to boost it naturally?
That's a big question in the research world. Some studies suggest things like regular exercise and eating well might make a difference.
Okay, fingers crossed. But wait, the chapter also talks about those little powerhouses inside our cells. Mitochondria, right?
Ah, yes, the mighty mitochondria.
I always learned they were just for energy. Are they part of the aging process too?
They are so much more than just energy production. We're talking cell signaling, even that apoptosis we discussed earlier.
Right, and their DNA, it's 10 times more vulnerable to damage than the DNA in the nucleus of the cell.
That's right. So as we age, those mitochondria accumulate damage, start malfunctioning.
And I'm guessing that leads to problems.
It's linked to a whole slew of age-related diseases, especially those neurodegenerative ones. Remember that hearing loss and heart disease link you mentioned?
Yeah, tell me more.
Well, some research suggests mitochondrial dysfunction could be playing a role in both. Those cells in our inner ear and heart muscle, they rely heavily on mitochondria for energy. So if the mitochondria aren't working right, problems arise.
That's pretty amazing, like a domino effect at a tiny level.
Exactly, and there's more to it. Damaged mitochondria release these signals, called MTDAMP-A.
MTDAMPs. Okay, now that sounds serious. What exactly are they doing?
Think of them like a distress signal, right? From the damaged mitochondria.
Okay.
They trigger inflammation, which we know is a major player in the aging process.
So it's like a constant low-grade fire in our bodies as we get older.
A great way to put it. Helps explain why older adults are more susceptible to infections. The immune system's constantly on high alert because of these signals.
So hold on. It's not just that our immune cells become weaker.
Right.
The whole system's on overdrive because of the cellular damage.
Exactly. It's like your immune system is fighting a losing battle. Now, how does this all relate to those specific diseases we see with age? The chapter talks about a theory, the free radical theory.
Okay, the free radical theory. I've heard that term. What's the main idea there?
Basically, it says aging and those related diseases are the result of damage from free radicals.
Right, those unstable molecules.
They wreak havoc on our cells. Our bodies do have defenses, but over time, those defenses can get overwhelmed.
So like a constant battle of free radicals versus our body's defenses.
Precisely. As we age, the scales tip in favor of those free radicals. Leads to more damage, more inflammation, and that sets the stage for various age-related conditions.
That makes sense. And I see the chapter goes on to talk about specific conditions like heart disease, Alzheimer's, even frailty.
And that's where it gets really relevant to everyone listening. Each of these is impacted by aging in different ways. Understanding those connections can help us make informed choices about our health.
So should we start breaking down some of those specific diseases then?
Absolutely. Let's get into the details of how aging impacts our bodies and minds.
So we've established aging is this super complex process, all happening at the cellular level. But can we actually influence how we age through what we eat? I mean, this chapter is all about nutrients and healthy aging, right?
Absolutely, we can. Think of nutrients like the building blocks and fuel for those repair and regeneration processes we talked about. Like a car needs the right kind of fuel to run smoothly. Our bodies need the right nutrients to age well.
Okay, that analogy makes sense. So where do we even start? There are so many nutrients out there.
Well, the research is always changing, but there are a few key players that consistently stand out.
Yeah, tell me more.
Let's start with antioxidants. Remember those free radicals causing all that damage?
Yeah.
Antioxidants are like our body's defense squad against them.
Right. They neutralize those unstable molecules, stop them from causing more damage to our cells.
Exactly. And we get antioxidants from lots of sources, especially fruits, vegetables, some spices, berries, dark leafy greens, turmeric, green tea. All those are antioxidant powerhouses.
So basically, eating lots of colorful fruits and veggies is a good strategy for aging well.
It's definitely a great starting point. Now let's talk protein.
Protein, okay.
As we age, we naturally start losing muscle mass. It's called sarcopenia.
Right. And I remember from the chapter that protein is crucial for building and maintaining muscle.
Exactly. And it's not just about how much protein you eat, it's the quality too. Aim for lean sources, things like fish, chicken, beans, lentils, tofu.
So we've got antioxidants, protein. What else should we be thinking about?
Healthy fats. Can't forget those. Our brains are largely made up of fat, so as we age, we need to make sure we're feeding them the right kinds.
Right, to keep everything running smoothly. What about omega-3 fatty acids? I hear those are good for the brain.
They are. You find them in fatty fish, things like salmon, mackerel, sardines, also plant-based sources like flax seeds, chia seeds, and walnuts.
So it's not about avoiding all fats.
Yeah.
Just got to choose the right ones.
Exactly. We need fats for lots of bodily functions like hormones, cell signaling, even vitamin absorption.
Okay, makes sense. So we've talked about what to eat. Are there things we should be avoiding?
Good question. While specific recommendations depend on individual needs, there are some general guidelines that apply to most people. Limiting processed foods, sugary drinks, excess saturated and trans fats. That's always a good idea.
Like the old saying, everything in moderation.
Exactly. Focus on those whole, unprocessed foods. And the chapter also mentions the Mediterranean diet as a model for healthy eating, especially as we get older.
The Mediterranean diet, what's so special about it?
Well, it emphasizes plant-based foods, things like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, includes healthy fats from olive oil, nuts, moderate amounts of fish, poultry, dairy.
Sounds pretty balanced.
It's been linked to a lot of health benefits, reduced risk of heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, even some cancers.
It's not just a diet, it's more like a lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly. And let's not forget about hydration, crucial for healthy aging. As we age, our sense of thirst can decline, so we're more prone to dehydration.
Right, got to stay hydrated. So it's not just about the food we eat, it's the fluids we're taking in as well.
You got it. Aim to drink plenty of water throughout the day, especially if you're active.
You mentioned earlier that research on nutrition and aging is constantly evolving. What are some areas you're particularly excited about right now?
There's a lot of buzz around the gut microbiome and its role in aging.
The gut microbiome.
Yeah, trillions of bacteria in our gut. They play a surprisingly big role in our overall health, immune function, nutrient absorption, even brain health.
So there's a link between gut health and healthy aging.
It seems so, yeah. More and more research is suggesting a balanced, diverse gut microbiome is associated with healthier aging.
So how do we support a healthy gut microbiome? Probiotics.
Probiotics can be helpful, but the best way is through a fiber-rich diet. Fiber acts like food for those gut bacteria.
So all those fruits, veggies, whole grains, they're good for our cells and our gut bacteria.
Win-win. Another exciting area is personalized nutrition. Scientists are learning that our genes, lifestyle, even our gut microbiome can influence how we respond to different foods.
So there's no one-size-fits-all approach to nutrition.
Not at all. Personalized nutrition aims to tailor recommendations to each person's needs. Could really change how we approach healthy aging.
Like having a custom-made nutrition plan just for you.
Exactly. It's a fascinating time to be researching this connection between nutrition and aging.
This is making me want to pay more attention to what I eat. But all this talk about nutrients makes me wonder, what about the social and emotional aspects of food? Can't just reduce it to calories and nutrients, right?
You're absolutely right. Food's about so much more than fuel. It's connection, tradition, pleasure.
Exactly. And those social and emotional connections, they become even more important as we age. Family dinners, holiday meals, or even just grabbing coffee with a friend.
Those shared experiences can nourish us in ways that go beyond just the physical.
And maintaining those connections, that can be a real antidote to loneliness and isolation, which we know can have a negative impact on our health.
I couldn't agree more.
So it's not just about eating the right foods. It's about enjoying food, sharing meals with people we care about.
You said it perfectly.
This deep dive has really opened my eyes. We've learned so much about the science of aging, the importance of nutrients, but one question keeps popping up for me. How do we balance all this info with real life? It's great to know about healthy habits, but putting them into practice is a whole other thing. Life gets in the way.
That's a really important point, and it's something we're going to tackle head-on in the final part of our deep dive.
Okay, good.
We've explored the science, delved into the world of nutrients. Now it's time to bridge that gap between knowledge and action.
All right, listeners, stay tuned for the final part of our deep dive. We'll be equipping you with practical strategies to put all this amazing info into action. A healthier, more vibrant future awaits. All right, we're back for the final part of our aging deep dive. We've covered so much from cells to what we eat, even the social stuff. But now, how do we actually use all this?
Yeah, that's the big question, right? Turning knowledge into action. You've learned so much, but how do you actually apply it? In a way that lasts, I mean.
Because, let's be real, life gets busy. Work, family, everything else. Who has time to track every single thing they eat?
I totally get that. That's where mindset comes in. It's not about being perfect. It's about those small changes you can actually stick with over time. Progress, not perfection.
I love that. So instead of trying to change everything at once and getting overwhelmed, we can just pick one or two small things to focus on.
Exactly. Start small. Maybe add an extra serving of veggies to your dinner. Or swap out that sugary drink for water more often. Once that's a habit, you can add something else.
Like building a healthy aging foundation, brick by brick. What else helps make those changes stick?
One thing is to focus on what you can add to your diet, not just what you're cutting out. It's a more positive way to look at it, less restrictive. So instead of saying no dessert, maybe you say, I'm going to enjoy this salad and then see if I still want dessert.
That's a good way to reframe it. It doesn't feel like you're missing out.
Exactly. Another tip, plan ahead. Life gets crazy, and if you don't have healthy stuff ready, it's easy to grab whatever's fastest. So meal prepping, packing healthy snacks, having a good grocery list, all that helps.
Meal prepping is a lifesaver, for sure. Saves so much time and stress.
It does. And speaking of stress, managing that is huge for healthy aging. Chronic stress is tough on the body, speeds up those aging processes we talked about.
Oh, tell me about it. When I'm stressed, all I want is sugary treats.
That's totally normal. But finding healthy ways to deal with stress is important. Exercise, meditation, being out in nature, spending time with people you love, all those can make a big difference.
And sleep. Can't forget sleep. I swear I age like 5 years after a bad night.
Sleep is crucial, yeah. That's when your body repairs and recharges. Aim for that 7 to 8 hours of good quality sleep.
It's worth it, for sure. And what about that social connection that chapter talked about?
So important. Make a point of connecting with people you care about. Phone calls, video chats, visits, anything. Maybe join a group or club that interests you. Volunteer. Even just striking up conversations with people you meet.
I like that. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It's those little moments that count.
Exactly. And it's never too late to build new friendships.
Well, this whole deep dive has been eye-opening. We've looked at the science, talked about nutrients, even found ways to make it all work in real life.
And it's not just about living longer, it's about those years being good years.
That's a good way to put it. So as we wrap up, what's the one thing you want listeners to take away from this?
Aging is natural, no doubt about it. But it doesn't have to be a decline. Understanding the science, living a healthy lifestyle, staying connected to people, those are the keys to aging well, with energy and purpose.
It's about taking charge of our own aging journey.
Exactly. It's an adventure, and we can make it amazing.
Well said. We hope this deep dive has given you the knowledge and inspiration to embrace aging with confidence. Thanks for joining us.